Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. You may take your seats, please. Next, again, I request Professor Marginalities to kindly show a little token of love to our Professor Manisha.
Really, this is homecoming. You don't need this.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Now may I request Professor Manisha ma'am to take over the session. Please, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Khokho, and I congratulate Professor Amarjit Singh and Dr. Khokho for having this two-day national seminar on such a pertinent theme and a neglected theme. Films from, we have been talking about marginalities and within margins, but films from Northeast India is so very, very not really dealt upon many a times. And the title itself, when we say like cinema, is basically, we all know it is not merely entertainment. Cinema is a powerful site of history, is a powerful site of identity, is a powerful site of cultural politics. And of course, films from Northeast have remained at the periphery for quite a long time in terms of Indian national cinema, both in terms of visibility and scholarly attention. And yet these cinematic traditions, I would say, lie within this lie complex narratives of whether it is ethnicity or gender or language or conflict, environment, belonging, all of it. So I am sure we have with us someone who's so embedded in this particular theme, because I'm sure this discussion today on Northeast cinema and its history is going to be led, because what I read of our distinguished speaker today, because and also a little bit about Northeast cinema, how it is led through various realities, how it challenges dominant imaginaries or in various ways of cinematic grammar. And here how filmmakers over a period of time have reclaimed a kind of space to articulate resistance and shape alternative kind of modernities. So here we have with us today, we have with us today Dr. Parthajit Baruah, whose pioneering work on history of India's Northeast cinema has definitely enriched the field with archival depth and I would say theoretical insight also, because it is a scholarly work, and his work which has sort of repositioned Indian cinema within a broader national and transnational film discourses. Of course, mapping the history of Northeast cinema, which is where I'm sure after his presentation and his discourse, we are going to open up many conceptual discussions on, I would say, marginality, cultural politics, and cinema as a space of agency and transformation. So thank you. I invite our speaker today to begin with this session, Dr. Parthajit Baruah.
Yeah. Should I go there?
Yes,
Yeah.
whatever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, there was a mic.
There was a mic.
Can you bring one mic?
Will this work?
Without the mic, can you hear my voice?
Yes.
It's very interesting that you can hear my voice without the mic. That's very interesting. But interestingly, some days back, say 10 days back, my book on Aribam Shyam Sharma was released in Imphal, in Manipur. I was speaking through the microphone, but my voice and words did not reach to the audience. My voice seemed to fade away, lost at the periphery, unheard.
That's the effect of Manipur.
I'm happy. Yeah, maybe I'm still here at the center. And so I don't need the microphone to speak it out.
And you are technically in the geographical center
Yeah.
of Delhi. So,
I think my voice without the microphone can be heard loud and clear, right? So with this beginning note, I would like to thank the organizer. First of all, I'd like to thank Professor Manisha T. Pandey for chairing this session. And I would like to thank Dr. M. Amarjit Singh, Director, Center for Northeast Studies and Policy Research, Dr. K. Kokho, Convener and Assistant Professor, JMI, and my brother, Dr. Parthajit Baruah, Co-Convener, Assistant Professor. And I'd like to especially thank Professor Sanjay Hazarika, a social scientist, filmmaker, and author. I'd like to thank him because he has been inspiring the emerging voices of our region. And faculty members, professors, guests, and research scholars. Today, I'm going to talk on understanding Northeast cinema, a critical perspective. As I have written the book on the history of the India's Northeast cinema, so I'll take the whole subject in a very, not in a critical sense, in a very capsule way, because within 30 minutes I won't be able to deal with all the subject that I wanted to deal. At the same time, there is also technical discrepancy in the projections. Yesterday, when I was listening to Professor Sanjay Hazarika, he said two very interesting sentences. One was he said that Northeast cinema is no longer marginalized. That need to be analyzed, number one. And number two, Professor Sanjay Hazarika quotes Jamia Bora sir, saying that films are made to be seen, not read. That is the 2 points I will discuss in the later on. But before that, we often use the terminology Northeast cinema, cinemas from the Northeast. But that will confuse many people, maybe within India or in Asian countries or European countries, some other places. So I like to use one particular word, Northeast cinema, rather than cinemas from the Northeast or Northeast cinemas. And recently, today, at IFFI, International Film Festival of India, Goa, there is going to be a seminar, panel discussion, and that panel discussion topic has been given as New Northeast Cinema, which I completely oppose with that. Anyway, for our convenience, I'm going to use the Northeast cinema, and I also advocate to use this one for our understanding. So I believe using Northeast cinema, a singular and collective term, brings clarity and consistency to our conversation, whether in academic, critical, or casual context. Multiple phrases can create confusion, especially for those outside region or abroad. Northeast cinema gives an easy, recognizable identity for the films made in 8 different states. Each state, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Arunachal, Tripura, and Sikkim, has its own unique history, challenges, and cinematic stories that deserve independent discussion. Northeast cinema will mean, when I use the word Northeast cinema, I'm not clubbing them the way Indian cinema mean. It's an Indian cinema. When I was writing the book on Adur Gopalakrishnan, he says that he defines Indian cinema, films made in different languages. Indian cinema is not clubbing all states that is there in India. Similarly, for me, Northeast cinema, when I'm going to use the Northeast cinema, it will mean films made in different 8 states of our region. Because Northeast has hundreds of linguistic and ethnic minorities have been represented. As we know, Assam is not just for Assamese, is known not just for Assamese language, but films made in different linguistic groups such as Bora, Karbi, Mising, Tiwa, Bengali in Borak Valley. Similarly, in Manipur, Manipuri cinema includes Meitei language, but other groups like Poma, Naga, Anal, Rongmei, Tangkhul, etc. Meghalaya cinema, Khashi, Garo, Jaintia. So I encourage everyone, including academics, critics, and audience, to use Northeast cinema as a standard phrase for all discussions related to films from the multi-linguistic region. As I have mentioned about that Indian cinema concept, Indian cinema can easily identify Indian audience, particularly Indian, when we watch films from the Northeast, audience from Kerala, audience from Chennai, they can easily identify while watching films from the region of the Northeast. But for Western audience, watching Western audience, I'm just using because my book on other Gopalakrishna was, the foreword was written by Jean-Michel Frodot from France. When he was watching the films from Kerala, the whole concept was completely different. And from that point of view, I'm using that one. For Western audience, watching Northeast films will transport them to a strange land where the atmosphere and the physical appearance of man and woman have changed. High hills and mountains, heat and rain, an immediate discovery of new region, Northeast. Within India, quite distinct and diverse, yet they are completely Indian. However, they are not Bollywood. I am quite frustrated when filmmakers from our region are always tagged as Northeast filmmaker. So, however, I must express my reservation regarding the tendency of media houses and film festival circuits to tag filmmakers from the Northeast as Northeast filmmakers. Contrast this with how we mention filmmakers from other regions of India. Seldom do we hear South filmmaker, Adur Gopalakrishnan, Bengali or Kolkata filmmaker, Satyajit Ray. And even Dadasaheb Phalke, revered as the father of Indian cinema, is never confined to regional level as Marathi filmmaker. But we, Jyoti Prasad Agarwala is always considered an Assamese. But anyway, then why? My question is, why should our approach differ when it comes to filmmakers from the Northeast? For genuine representation and recognition, we must acknowledge the identity of these distinguished filmmakers as not Indian film, not Northeast filmmakers, as Indian filmmakers. I'd like to give you one example. Here I'd like to mention 3 Bollywood actors. One, Denny Denjumpa. Yesterday someone has mentioned about Denny Denjumpa from Sikkim. Adil Hussain and Seema Biswas from Assam. In case of Adil Hussain and Seema Biswas, they don't have the Mongoloid features. They don't have the Mongoloid look. They have the pan-Indian appearance. And that's why they are often considered not as the Northeast actors. They are always considered as Indian actors. On the other hand, Denny initially faced challenges, breaking stereotypes, but eventually he overcame these barriers and established himself as a powerful Indian actor. In 1969, Denny got admission. It was Jaya Bachchan who said that your name is so confusing. I like to shorten your name as Denny. It was Jaya Bachchan who gave him his name as Denny. When Denny, after completing his schooling from FTI, he went to Mumbai to try his luck. And then he said, in an interview, he said, recollecting those days, then he said, in the 70s, big banners like Gemini and FVI, many made family dramas. I did not fit in. I was told that I never looked like a father or a brother. The only part I could get was that of a servant or an outsider. See, he was made in a stereotypical character, but as we know that he has now become a powerful actor in Indian cinema, what we normally call, I don't like to use the word Bollywood, but Indian cinema, but if I use, he has become a powerful actor in Bollywood. Another filmmaker from Meghalaya, he's a good friend of mine, he said that in an interview, in a personal interview, he said that Pradeep Kurba of Meghalaya said, I cannot deny the existence of the Northeast label in India. In fact, it originates from the mainland India. I could not comprehend why they applied this label to our filmmaker. Consider that my film, Udo, market is entirely on human feelings and conditions. I'm delighted to represent the region, and being from the Northeast makes me happy. Regarding my films, however, they have universal element that everybody in the globe can relate to. I believe the manner in which stories are told in the Northeast varies from state to state. They are unique and different. It is not that Pradeep Kurba has raised his voice on this issue, and the rest of the filmmakers of the Northeast have expressed similar sentiment. So we have found that the filmmakers of the Northeast, they don't like to take themselves as the Northeast filmmakers. When I wrote the book, one film scholar from Pune, he was my teacher when I was doing a short-term course at a film institute. He said that now you have written, now you have to work on Indian cinema and Bollywood. Now you have become a specialized academic in Northeast. And I was thinking, does it mean that when I was writing the book on the Northeast history, give me the tag that I'm a Northeastern academic? Anyway, so through the journey, the Northeast cinema started from 1935 to 2025. Through the journey, I like to divide two groups of the filmmakers, two distinct groups of the filmmakers. One who were called the pioneers of filmmakers of those regions, and the recent filmmakers. While discussing Northeast cinema, it becomes clear that the question of identity has been central to the development of its filmmaker. I would like to categorize two distinct yet interconnected groups. The first group comprises pioneering filmmakers who, in the 1980s, sought to break from limiting level of Northeast filmmakers. Among these pathfinders, Aribam Shyam Sharma and Janu Bora stand at the forefront. Two filmmakers, Aribam Shyam Sharma and Janu Bora. Aribam Shyam Sharma's Image, Ningtem and Ishanu. Image was made in 1980. He won award at Nante in 1981, and his Ishanu was the only film from so far to be selected at Uncertain de Regard at Cannes Film Festival so far. That was the only film. That was not a Manipuri film, but that was an Indian film. Remember that. And Janu Bora's Halodia Sorai Baudhan Khai got recognition at international film festival called Locarno Film Festival. He won award. That was the first film from Assam to win international award. Earlier, there was a film called Puberan. That was the first film that was made in 1959, and that was at the Berlin Film Festival. That didn't win award. I have tried to mention these two filmmakers because if you compare the filmmakers from the rest of the countries, like Adur Gopalakrishnan, Shyam Benegal, those who are the pathfinder of the second wave or the first wave of the alternative cinema, those two filmmakers are quite different, because Aribam Shyam Sharma, the socio-political condition of Manipur and Assam or the other states are completely different from the rest of the country. Because take for example Adur Gopalakrishnan or Shyam Benegal, when they made film, the socio-political environment was very conducive. But on the other hand, Aribam Shyam Sharma had to make film at atmosphere where Armed Forces Special Power Act was prevalent. You see that the way he made films. When Janu Bora made his debut film Aparupa, the shooting took place in 1979. The Assam movement was on the top. When shooting took place nearby, there was a dead body was lying. When dead body was found, Janu Bora had to postpone the whole shooting for a long period of time. So we have to understand the two filmmakers, why I have mentioned two filmmakers, in the 80s and 90s, they have tried to break away from the limited tagging of Northeast filmmakers. Their films were selected at the international film festivals like Cannes Film Festival, Nantes Film Festivals, and Locarno Film Festivals. Now, I see the second generation of the filmmakers who have not only stepped out of those early confines, but also firmly established themselves on the world stage. And filmmakers like Rima Das, Haubam Pawan Kumar, Pradeep Kurba, Dominic Sama are prime examples. the visibility. Why I have mentioned their names, not rest of the filmmakers at the present, like Parthajit Baruah, Khanjan Kishore Nath, Rima Biswajit, also other filmmakers, Simi Kangtia from Jaintia filmmakers from Meghalaya. Why I have not mentioned? It's because the visibility at the international map. Among those filmmakers which I have mentioned in the second category, the Rimada's films are more visible than rest. Still, I have categorized them in the same category. The visibility with which their films are appeared at the international film festivals has ensured that they are no longer categorized merely as Northeast filmmakers. Instead, they are recognized as significant voices of the world cinema. Now, I like to repeat the quote, what Professor Sanjay Hazarika said yesterday, that Northeast cinema is no longer marginalized. So, we should not use the word marginalized in terms of when we use the word Northeast cinema. I also do agree what Professor Sanjay Hazarika has said. But still, despite this advancement, many filmmakers from the region are still subject to reductive Northeast label. Still, I am a filmmaker. I have made films that was released in the theaters. At the same time, my book, because of my book on the Northeast cinema, some of the scholars out of the Northeast, they have said that you have become expertise in the Northeast cinema. Northeast, they have used the Northeast, that they have tagged my label. I don't like. This perception shows a resistance that began in the 1980s, a resistance to being defined solely by ethnicity or state, whether Assamese, Manipuri, Khasi or Garo. Instead, the desire has been, continues to be, to claim the identity of Indian filmmakers. I must acknowledge there are two different things. The way Janu Baruah or Oribam Shyam Sharma were visible at the International Film Festival during that time in the 80s and 90s and at the present time. We have to know one thing, that in the 80s and 90s, simply submitting a film to a festival was a daunting task. You cannot submit a film to a festival because filmmakers and producers had to physically carry the heavy film can in tin box to the festival. There was a big tin box. The producers and the director had to carry that one. But at the present time, if you look at the present time, you do not need to carry the tin box. You have to submit your films either Vimeo, Google Drive, or some other formats. During those times, technology has democratized access. Films can be submitted through Vimeo, Film Freeway, other platforms, making the whole process. Mosquito is working. Yeah, sometimes it comes. I thought in Delhi it will not come in the center. Anyway. The pioneering efforts of the first generation filmmakers, we have to be very careful about the first generation, the way they have paved the way. The pioneering efforts of the first generation of the filmmakers to break out of the confines of regional identity not only laid a foundation, but also made it possible for the next generation like us to step confidently on the global stage. Another phrase that is often used at the film festival, not in the academic circuits, but in the film festival is the word called package. It's very frustrating. The biggest demeaning phrase used for the Northeast cinema is Northeast package film in many film festivals. Northeast package films are often included at international film festivals that are held in India, not abroad, remember that. Northeast package comprises a selection of independent, curated films that are recommended for watching. That was in IFFI, International Film Festival, and even in MIF in Mumbai. The Northeast package films are seen by several Northeast filmmakers and film experts as an expression of empathy from film festival organizers towards filmmakers in this region. Personally, I am quite frustrated with the term package for Northeast films. Cinema is an art form. It should not be labeled as package. We know cinema is an art form. It should not be labeled as because this is not a commodity. The term package is pejorative since it diminishes the essential character of any state in the Northeast. I argue that the organizers of the film festivals have never curated Northeast cinema is always curated as a package film, Northeast package film. But in terms of focus on South India films, say, South Indian cinema typically refers to films made in 4 states, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Each of these states, be it Malayalam, Telugu, Kannada or Tamil cinema, has developed its own unique narrative style, thematic concern and cinematic aesthetics. Importantly, their films have never been grouped under the label of South Film Package at festivals or critical discussion. Likewise, it is essential to treat the films from the Northeast as separate and unique entities. So, when you talk about the films from Kerala or Kannada film, they are so enriched. Malayalam cinema is so enriched. They cannot be. The legendary filmmakers from India or from Kerala. Even last year when I was in Canada, then I was moderating a session with Kamal Hassan. So Kamal Hassan knows more about any other person in Bollywood or in Indian cinema. He knows about Jyoti Prasad Agarwala. He knows about Ratan Thiam. He knows about Bhupen Hazarika. He's so intelligent. I'm quite surprised and amazed to see his depth. Now, when talk about the Indian cinema, particularly the cinema from the Northeast, I'd like to give you one important historical facts which Indian film historians are completely unaware, which I think I need to tell you. With this note, I would like to go back to the history and evolution of the Northeast cinema. I have always found it interesting and somewhat frustrating that Indian film historians often overlook Jyoti Prasad Agarwala as one of the true pioneers of Indian cinema. In the late 1920s, Jyoti Prasad traveled all the way to Ufa, Berlin to study filmmaking, and yet many fail to recognize that Jyoti Prasad's film, The Dance of Art, 1930, would have been India's first talkie, The Dance of Art. Jyoti Prasad Agarwala's first film, The Dance of Art, would have been the first talkie in India in 1930, predating Ardis Irani Alam Ara. Jyoti Prasad took his own Assamese drama, Hunit Kori, adapted it into English and renamed it The Dance of Art. He submitted the script to Ufa Dramaturgical Department, proposing that it should be made a talkie. Remember that 1930 he proposed to make a film in talkie. Unfortunately, due to the financial crisis at Ufa, Berlin, they refused to make the film and returned the whole script. How much time I have?
Another 15 minutes.
Another 15 minutes, that's okay. No, I need to ask the center. No, I need to ask. Anyway.
The time keep going.
Yeah, thank you. And there was a story written by Aruni Kashyap, and where it's about the Tejimola. In that story, the main character of the story goes to attend a seminar here comes to Delhi and attend. And most of the people are asking about your seminar must be on insurgency. Your seminar topic must be on insurgency, right? Yeah. Because no, it's not my seminar topic is not about insurgency. It's about the folktale. I'm going to say folktale. People from Northeast are talking about folktale instead of insurgency. Anyway, I would like to say that many people look at the Northeast as one of the most disturbed region, a conflict zone. They are often considered others for the Mongoloid fishes. I cannot deny that insurgency does exist, but not all states. Insurgency is there, but not in all states. I would like to give you one interesting example. When Priyanka Chopra sparked controversy during an interview at the Toronto International Film Festival by asserting that Sikkim has never had a film industry Chopra made one film called Pahuna the Little Visitor. Is the first film. She made one film in Sikkim and called Pahuna the Little Visitors. Is the first film made in Sikkim, which has been affected by insurgency and is considered a trouble area. The comment sparked significant controversy among the people of Sikkim, promoting Chopra to publicly apologize on social media. In her apology, she clarified that she had no intention of offending or hurting anyone's feelings in the region. When Priyanka Chopra made the comment, I just had a talk with my friend Karma Takappa from Sikkim. He passed out from FTI. So he said that Chopra's understanding of Sikkimese filmmaking was limited and uninformed. Another Dhokbo, yeah, and he said that Pahuna explores the predicament of a family uprooted by a fictitious insurrection in the region. Surprisingly, Sikkim is the only northeastern state that lacks an historical records of insurgency. Anyway, but it is completely wrong to say that northeastern filmmakers are exclusively preoccupied with depicting insurgency. In contrast, filmmakers of this region select stories that focus on human condition, local environment, and interpersonal interactions. So, Aribam Shyam Sharma, I have already mentioned about. I have written a book, I said, if you want to buy, you can buy it. Aribam Shyam Sharma's films effectively portray the dynamic nature of Manipuri culture. Interestingly, as you know that Manipur is prone with socio-political restlessness, but still Aribam Shyam Sharma, who has been making film from 1972 till now, he has never made film on political issues. Remember that. But he has the political element, but he has not mentioned about that. So Aribam Shyam Sharma's portray the dynamic of Manipuri culture, lifestyle, addressing a wide variety of problems that shed light on Manipuri socio-cultural milieu. Janu Baruah, who won 12-time national awards, chooses to focus on regional, local, and personal narrative as the central theme of his films. More recently, we know Dominic Sangma's Rapsos has won multiple awards at different film festivals. We have Northeast cinema has produced. Northeast has produced many filmmakers like Jyoti Prasad Agural, Janu Baruah, Aribam Shyam Sharma, Bhavendranath Hoikia, Rima Das, Bhaskar Hazarika, Haubam Pavan Kumar, Pradip Kurba, Dominic Sangma, Joseph Pulinthanath. Joseph Pulinthanath is from Tripura. Kivini from Nagaland, Kivini Shohei, and many others have substantial contribution to the growth of Indian cinema. So, when I just studied the films of Shyam Benegal, I was from 1917. I was writing a book on Aribam Shyam Benegal, but that book I had to stop because he passed away. So I was very close to Shyam Benegal. So I know his cinematic aesthetics. Similarly, I know Adur Gopalakrishnan's aesthetics, and I know Girish Kasarwali, Kannada filmmaker, the Indian filmmaker, his aesthetics. So from that point of view, I have realized that in Northeast cinema, each state has their unique cinematic narrative technique. As for example, I like to quote the cinematic technique that is used in Manipuri cinema. While filmmaking is undeniably a global language, there are noticeable differences in Northeast cinema. For example, Manipuri cinema is known for its unique narrative aesthetics, which reflect the culture, history, and daily life of Manipur in ways they are distinct from other regions. So I can still remember that from 17 to 20 February 2016, Itanagar, Arunachal, there was a seminar called Film Northeast 2016, which was jointly organized by Information and Public Relations Document and Film Federation of Arunachal. On February 18th, they organized a seminar called The Challenges Faced by Filmmakers Outside of Northeast, at which 8 filmmakers, including myself, from various states of these regions participated, and Aribam Shyam Sharma chaired the session. Pabung means father in Meitei. So according to Pabung, Aribam, because people from the northeast have distinct mongoloid features, the emotion of the characters in film cannot be conveyed through the small eyes. That is very important point he has pointed out in that seminar. As the mongoloid features have the small eyes, the emotions, the expressions cannot be expressed through the small eyes. He claimed that people in India, especially in South India, have Aryan features. Now the question is, what kind of acting the Northeast region requires of its artist in terms of acting? It is obvious that filmmakers in this area, in 8 Northeast states, use wide shots and other metaphorical images to depict the characters' emotions. So Aribam Shyam Sharma basically says that as we have the small eyes, we cannot take the close-up shot. We cannot take the close-up shot to express the emotions. So they always use the wide shot. Either we have to express bodily, we have to express our emotions. This is what Aribam Shyam Sharma has said. And another filmmaker, my friend Haubam Pavan Kumar, he has said that in Indian traditional dance such as Kathakali, the eye and hands play a significant role. On the other hand, to appreciate the movement of the Manipuri dance, one must observe it from an extended period of time. It is not about getting the perfect close-up shot. Even in his film, Lady of the Lake, he said, I always use wide and long shot to show the motion across the whole body, than showing it through the eyes of the character. I believe body language more accurately reflect human emotions. So we need to be very careful about the shot division, how the shot division of a film or cinema can reflect the aesthetics of each state of the Northeast. Now coming back, it's a very important thing about the misrepresentation of the Northeastern characters in Bollywood. So when I talk about the misrepresentation or the discrimination there in Bollywood, I do not like to support that one. It's because showing a particular region or some people with misinformation is a very natural thing. As far it is not only that people from the Northeast are suffering from that. Even Arab or the Muslims are represented in a very wrong way in Hollywood. Even if you look at the character from Tamil, a Tamil is shown in a mocking way in the Indian or Bollywood cinema. So this is a Bihari is shown in a different way in Bollywood. So I'm not going to say that how we are represented in Bollywood. We don't play the victim card, remember that. But I have to mention one particular point about how Bollywood, 3 films I like to mention about how Bollywood has represented Northeast. I like to give you one example called Mani Ratnam's Dil Se. The film's central narrative explores insurgency in the Northeast, with Amar, a journalist at a Haflong railway station in Assam, becoming infatuated with Moina, a covert girl, who as it turns is a militant. The story eventually leads to a plot about militants planning an attack on Republic Day in Delhi. This portrayal sparked controversy among people from the region. From our region, we were upset because historically, insurgent group of the Northeast, excluding Sikkim, insurgent group from the Northeast have never targeted border population or central government outside their areas, local areas. Remember that. This is a matter of public record, and yet the film perpetuates a false narrative simply because the filmmakers fail to do homework. Another film I like to mention about Priyadarshan Soman's Boom Boom Bole that was made in 2000. It's very disturbing. You like me or what? No, he's also saying that, why are you saying that? You should say, Priyadarshan Soman's Boom Boom Bole is another example of the same pattern. This Hindi adaptation of Majid Majid's Children of Heaven is set in what is clearly meant to be Assam, as evidenced by the Assamese alphabet on public transport and the use of Assamese phrase, albeit with broken accent. The film not only gets cultural details wrong, but also uncomfortably inserts the theme of insurgency, going so far as to involve a school-aged child in terrorist activity. There is no evidence that insurgent groups in Assam have ever involved children in such action, and the absence of such research or conclusion with local communities is glaring. We need to speak loud, is because I always say that we are coming from the place where there, even if I use microphone, that voice doesn't reach to the center. So I'm trying to speak the much I can, but still I have been limited to 2 minutes. And another film I like to give you a similar, Mani Shankar's Tango Charlie confuses facts by depicting NDFB, a group from Assam operating in the forest of Manipur. NDFB is from Assam, and that group has been shown in Manipur. So my argument today here is not about misrepresentation. The root cause is a lack of genuine research and engagement with the Northeast. If we want better on-screen representation, we must first demand better research and deep respect for the complexities in the region and economic dynamic of the theatre distribution. I just like to say there are different films are made in Assam. Assamese films are made in Meghalaya, Khasi, Garo, everywhere in Sikkim. Nepali films are made. There is a major films that has been coming in the theatres. But as we know, throughout the Northeast, we have 115 screen. But in terms of the theatre, we have 85 theatres. So there is only one film that has been screened throughout 115 screen. It's called recent film called Jubin Garg's film called Roy Binala. The Jubin Garg who just passed away recently, his film came up on 31st October. So that was the only film so far that was released 115. Now the question is, my film, when I released the film, the Nelly story, that was based on the Nelly massacre that took place in 1983. So when I released the film in the theatre, I took only 28 theatres, only within Assam. So this is the major languages I'm talking about. Take for example, Garo film. Take for example, Bora film in Assam, or Karbi film. They cannot be released, and in Manipur, only in the valley that you can just move freely right now. You can move freely within the radius of 10 kilometers from Imphal. There only you can watch films. Now the question is how the films made in different languages, be it Mizoram, be it some other places, Nagaland or Arunachal, where the films are screened. They have the small auditorium and they are making films. Suppose I am Nishi and I am showing this film among the Nishi community. If I am Monpa, if I am making film in Monpa, so I have to screen those films in Monpa. And there is only one language there in Arunachal Pradesh that the film can easily be watched by all people. It's the Arunachali Hindi. Even in Nagaland, the Nagamese will be used. So what I personally feel that the independent filmmakers in the Northeast will not get money. I invested almost 50 lakhs of my own. I still have not got that money. I own awards and the amount will be say 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs I have returned. So the rest of the money is still there. There will be many filmmakers in Northeast, they are not getting money. But if you are making films in a very limited budget, say 5 lakhs or for a small number of people, and screening the film in an auditorium, in a small community hall, there is a chance that the film will, you can get back your money. So with this note, I wanted to say many things, but I don't know why I just limited my time.
We can over a cup of tea and
yes.
we can definitely go on with the discussion.
Yes, in my concluding remark, I want to say Northeast cinema helps us rethink what Indian cinema means. This is not just a story of marginalization, rather it shows remarkable cultural expression in the face of enduring structural neglect. Or argue that Northeast cinema resists being confined to labels such as Northeast package films, and instead compels us to rethink how cinematic value and identity are constructed in India. If we are to realize truly inclusive and pluralistic Indian cinema, I strongly believe that scholars, institutions, policymakers must recognize the rich multiplicity of voices and stories emerging from the Northeast. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Would you like to take one or two questions, or?
Yeah, whatever. I'm just.
5 minutes. I think we can donate.
Yeah, I am there to respond, yes. Because I want that I am not a Northeastern film academic or film historian. I'm an Indian.
Okay.
Should I stay here or should I go back?
You can sit here. Thank you, Dr. Baruah, for that wonderful presentation.
I think I'll be there. I can respond. Yeah.
For that wonderful presentation. Throughout, when you were speaking on Northeast cinema, I was reminded of Stuart Hall, who talks of how culture is it's not only expressive, it's constitutive. And so how you've seen that cinemas everywhere it is, even in Northeast, how it has been a site where identities are produced, identities are negotiated, and identities are sometimes silenced. So, when you're talking about the periphery and of course the so-called 8 states of Northeast, which each of them varies differently and has such a unique, different, rich, vibrant history. So, putting them under one baggage in itself not very conducive. Of course, when we speak of culture, power, representation of Northeast cinema vis-a-vis the so-called Indian cinema, and as you rightly pointed out, Northeast cinema being packaged as a commodity is not a damn thing. Because in contrast to say South Indian cinema, which is each of them Malayalam, be it Malayalam or Tamil, each of them or Kannada, they are so vibrant and rich, and they are showcased as something which is distinct. Distinctiveness is always good. Marginalization and peripheralization is definitely not the thing. And you've come to a place at Jamia Millia where you have come to a center where you would realize that Northeast is definitely not only about insurgencies, and it's definitely not marginalized. So you've come to the right place to speak on your take on cinema. And of course, going back to Gayatri Spivak, of course, subalterns do speak, and here in a central university, definitely. But yes, nevertheless, as you rightly said, there is hegemony of certain cinematic traditions which need to be looked into, and of course, your scholarly work on it definitely is going to take us miles on this particular theme. Quickly, I would only prefer 2 to 3 quick questions so that, and a brief response also. Professor Hazarika, yes, please.
Yeah, I actually have a comment, it's more than a question, and it's not just about Partha's very fine presentation and talk. The phrase Northeast cinema, the one that he's been speaking of, all of us have been talking about, I think there's a real problem with addressing it as Northeast cinema. I remember my friend, the late Tensula Howe, in the Jaipur Literary Festival, we had a session about her writing and all that. And somebody asked her from the audience, so something about Northeast, her as a Northeast writer, she said, and Tensula was very straight, you know. Any of you who knew, she said, let's get one thing straight. I am a writer in English from India who happens to be from the Northeast.
Very good, yes.
So similarly, the cinema of the Northeast needs to be defined differently. It cannot be bracketed because the moment you say Northeast cinema, but you say cinema originating from the Northeast, it carries a totally different political characterization and cultural representation. Immediately, the two things are different. So I think that's one thing that I just wanted to share. And I'll say something that I said yesterday also, which is that at events like this, when you have a 2-day symposium, workshop, seminar, you must not only hear about films, but see them.
Yes.
So in the evenings, always.
Okay.
Coco and Amarjit.
Thank you, Professor Hazarika. We'll take another quick, then you can respond if you want to. Yes.
So I was just very wondering to see, it was just a curiosity coming out of my understanding of Northeast cinema. What is Osobipu? Is it a Karbi film, or is it a Northeast film, or is it a Assamese film?
No, another question is, technically it's a Karbi film. It's because the censor, when you get the censorship, the language is written. What language you have made. So Osobipu is a Karbi film. At the same time, it was the only Indian film that was selected in Berlin Film Festival in 1991. Remember that. So you can call it with the language name. It can be, say, Pathar Panchali can be Bengali film. It can be Indian film. It can be world film. So how the film has an impact among the scholars in academics or popular discourse?
No, my understanding is, are we falling back to the policy construct? Like the way sir say, Northeast is something which is constructed from the center, just to appease or give certain kind of policy.
No, you are talking about the center. There is no center, remember that. When Pradeep Kurba won award for best director at Kim Jeok Award at Busan Film Festival, that was the only film was selected at Busan, Udo Market, remember that? And he was the first Indian filmmaker to win that award. When he wins that award, he is no longer filmmaker, Khasi filmmaker, Meghalayan filmmaker, the Northeastern filmmaker. The only issue is center. Where is the center?
No, I am talking in terms of the policy construct.
No, policy.
The idea called Northeast.
No, that what you understand.
Suppose
that, yeah.
Northeast Film Festival.
Yeah.
Suppose within Northeast package we got one names in Guwahati, and the people, policymakers in central thinks that the people from Sikkim will also avail the facility.
Yes.
So that construction I am talking about, I think that needs to be demystified.
Absolutely.
Not in terms of cinema. I think in all other disciplines.
I'm just trying to demystify in my field in
Yes,
films.
I think your book also starts with that idea.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm trying. I like to respond.
Any quick other questions?
Thank you,
This is the last
Deposit,
one,
for your
and then
response.
you
Yes,
can-
ma'am. Yes.
I'm very intrigued with this I thing. श्याम शर्मा ने कहा कि झूठी हैं इसलिए एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पाते. अगर ये कोई नॉर्थ ईस्ट में बोलता तो ये रेसिस्ट नहीं होता.
Not.
रेसिस्ट होता ना. अगर कोई नॉर्थ ईस्ट में बोलता कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट की आंखें छोटी हैं इसलिए वो एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पाते. अगर ये श्याम शर्मा नहीं बोलता, if somebody else.
No. You
Not
just
Northeastern-
no. You are looking at the different lens. No, you have to change the lens. So what he wants to mean in terms of the characteristics and unique technique as a filmmaker. Suppose I'm a filmmaker. When I made my film, The Nelly Story, I did not follow the regional cinematic aesthetics. I follow what is called the global language. So I wanted to show the Pathar Panchali, Oppu and Durga, when they go to what's the train, the same sequence is there. There is similar kind of sequences there in my film. So I wanted to screen that film, but unfortunately I did not know the event center. The projection is bad. The question is, it's not about the racist comment. It's about explaining what is the cinematic aesthetics of Manipur. If I want to explain my cinema, and if he wants to explain his cinema, and if Adur Gopalakrishnan sir wants to explain his cinema, that is not, he is expressing his own aesthetics. He does not compare with anyone. He says about Natya Shastra, those points he has mentioned about. So there is no question of the racist. So I think we have to change the lens. So there is no racist out there. He is just.
His own film, Ishano,
Yeah.
Aribam Sham Sharma focuses on the woman who is going to become a Maibi. Focuses on her eyes. So I don't think, because you know what, people will easily misunderstand.
No, that's you are talking about when you talk about the Ishano Thampa. You watch the film?
Yes.
Yeah. So you see the woman when she suddenly got that Maibi. Suddenly there was a catfish. She saw when someone see the catfish, nakra, it's called nakra. When she the catfish and she behaves, and there is no extreme close-up shot. So I had the video comparing Aribam Shyam Sharma's shots and Adur Gopalakrishnan shots. How Adur Gopalakrishnan uses extreme close-up shot to express certain things. I had the video, so I wanted to show, but there is no clarity, so I cannot show the distinctions. So there is no extreme close-up shots when to express the emotional character of Thampa in Ishano. So you need to go through once again, because I have
Would you like to?
So I like to I really like to thank Professor Sanjay Hazarika sir. He is just pathfinder, and we have always learned a lot from him. Still, I would like to add, notice what I wanted to mean when I said everyone should use Northeast cinema. I wanted to mean that it's just like Indian cinema. What is Indian cinema? The term Indian cinema.
The question was not addressed to you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sorry, sir.
It's like the literature of the Northeast.
Okay, sir.
Northeast writers.
Yes.
Yes.
Writers of the region.
Yes, sir.
Films of the region. That makes it technically, politically, and culturally.
Yes. Yes.
As academic researches are done on Northeast India by, say, South Indian,
Yes,
academics, or the central states. So okay. So thank you, Dr. Baruah, for your all insights, and I would like to thank the participants also for your rigorous attention, I must say, and also that whole getting alive, that whole spirit of collective inquiry. And I'm sure we'll have, and the students and the scholars will have more to say on cinema over a cup of tea or over lunch, and we have Dr. Baruah for the whole day with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a nice pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.